Let's now turn our attention to Abia governorship election. We might be getting some final thoughts later on from Mr. Osaze Uzi, but I'm being joined virtually. By the Labour Party governorship candidate in the Abia state governorship race, Mr. Alex Otti, joins us virtually. Thank you so much, Mr. Otti, and it's good to see you. First and foremost, the election was supposed to hold on Saturday, but it's now obviously going to hold on the 18th of March. How does that come to you?
Well, Sharon, thank you very much for having me on your program. We are not very surprised, but then we're also a bit disappointed because a lot of plans had to change. When we saw the back and forth at the courts, and of course the way the February 25 election was handled by INEC, we began to think that it may be possible to postpone the election. One of the reasons is the configuration of the beavers. And our inquiries show that it takes anywhere between 4 to 5 days to reconfigure the over 170,000 or more beavers machines. And when Monday passed, Tuesday, and there was nothing from INEC, so we began to prepare for the election on the 11th, only to be hit yesterday by the postponement. The first thing to say is that it changes a whole lot of things. A few people who had come had from abroad and from Lagos and other parts of the country, we are going to leave by Monday, Tuesday. Some of them cannot reschedule those trips. So their votes and probably their services would have been lost. 1 more week of campaigns mean more expenses, more resources to be deployed, and these were not in our plans. But having said that, whether the election is holding on the 11th or 18th or any time, I can assure you that we are ready.
Well, so let's jump straight into the issues relating to the contest. The last election, the presidential election, and how it turned out, the figures your party, the Labour Party, garnered in Abia State, does that in any way have an effect, or will that have an effect on your chances?
We're the ones that worked, the obedience, and Labour Party particularly. The same situation that Nigeria finds itself today, where everybody's yearning for credible leadership. It's also the same situation Abia is in. 24 years down the line, what we have seen is I have defined a godfather as it's inferior to him, or somebody is superior to. So you've seen leadership declare. Everybody in Abia, or most people in Abia, today want a change, and they will do everything to ensure that that change happens. In 2015, they all came out, worked so hard, and cast their votes. That election, I won it. It was confirmed by the Court of Appeal, but the Supreme Court, in its wisdom, reversed the decision of the Court of Appeal. And I believe that Abians are angrier today than they were in 2015. So the votes you saw where out of the 8 House of Representatives seats, we took 6. And we'll probably take 1 more at the courts. And out of the 3 senatorial seats, we took 1 and probably will take 1 more. that shows strength. And then in terms of the presidential election, in spite of all the difficulties, we're able to give massive votes to our presidential candidate. So we are very positive that the same thing will be repeated. We have had the ruling party release threats to Mr. Peter Obi not to come to Abia State because he allegedly had an agreement with the governor of the state where the governor was supposed to deliver him. My response to that has been that anyhow you look at it, and I know Peter Obi very well, I do not think that agreement exists. But let's even agree without conceding that that agreement existed. The question to ask, or the thing to say, is that the governor himself reneged on the agreement. Because if you had an agreement to deliver a presidential candidate the same day he was running for a senatorial seat, and he failed to deliver himself, in fact, he came third, then it follows that he was not the one that delivered the presidential candidate. We, the Labour Party, delivered the presidential candidate. So I would like to tell all Abia people to ignore the threat coming from the Abia State government, because they actually supported another candidate and not the Labour Party candidate, just like most of the G5 governors.
Okay, this is your third time trying to, wanting to become the governor of Abia State after you exited your active practice in the banking sector. Why do you think you will be third time lucky?
Well, so, you know, like I started by saying, nothing has changed. If anything has changed for the worse. Quite frankly, offering myself, somebody had done what I wanted to do in 2015, and I've assured Abia people that all I require is 8 years to take them out of bondage, to develop the state, to ensure that salaries are paid on time, to ensure that we have infrastructure, to ensure that our state leaves that territory where we are being pitied, we are being made a butt of jokes. So if somebody had done it, I wouldn't offer myself anymore. But unfortunately, if anything has happened between 2015 and now, it's been more depth. Our debt profile as at 2015, when the former governor handed over to the present governor, was about 34.5 billion. The current governor has run that debt to about 190. It's now somewhere about 35%. Unemployment is almost twice the national average of 33.3%. Unemployment in Abia today is about 51%. So nothing has changed, and that is why I'm in this race. So if anybody can tell me that something has changed in his own territory, and I'm talking about everywhere, including the part of the state where the governor comes from. So I can assure you that Abia people cannot wait to cast their votes and effect a fundamental change in the leadership of the state. And everything succeeds and fails on the altar of leadership. Our leadership selection process has been very wrong. All sorts of propaganda, where you come from, the church you worship, and all that. All those have been what have been fed people. But people are wiser now, and they just want people, somebody that can deliver the state from bondage. That's why I'm here. I'm here to create wealth. I'm here to move people out of poverty. I'm here to industrialize the state and put it on the map. Today, we are number 32, Abia, 32 out of 36 states in the ease of doing business index. It is sad for a part of the country that was easily the fastest growing economy in the world. So I believe I am going to be more than lucky in this third attempt. Like I told you, the first time, the second time, I won, but they were all stolen. Now the process has changed. In spite of all the discussions about BVAS and all that, I still believe that the BVAS is a game changer. I believe that something must have gone wrong and it has to be fixed. And the INEC needs to actually redeem its image, because a lot of us were very, very hopeful and very, very excited that votes would count this time. And I followed the election in Ekiti and Oshun. What happened on the 25th is not a representation of what happened in Oshun and Ekiti and their last election. So my plea is that INEC should solve the problem before the election of March 18. Thank you.
So quickly, you want to be governor because you think that things have not changed and you have a business to turn things around. But if there is one area that gives you a lot of worry, what would that be? What aspect would that be? And what exactly are you going to do about it in specific terms?
Thank you. There are a lot of areas, and if you engage people from Abi, they will tell you. But a particular area that worries me is what we do with our young people. Today, a lot of them are unemployed, a lot of them are hungry and angry. And if you have not taken decisions that will help you create jobs for the people, all you see is poverty. And you know, it is also poverty that drives people to criminality and criminal actions. So when you see banditry going up, when you see unknown gunmen all over the place, when you see kidnapping, armed robbery, it's not spirits that are perpetrating those vices. It's actually human beings, children that we have given birth to, that we have sent to school, that have graduated and roam the streets for 2-3 years, and they can't find anything to do, but they must survive. So at some point, they get recruited into crimes and criminality, and they become criminals. And then you can justify it. He stays idle, and then he dies out of hunger. He gets engaged in criminal activities, and chances are that he will die or he will survive. So he will take his decision and say, okay, I'll die and I die. If I die as a criminal, so be it. And that's what is happening. So I would like to, first of all, ensure, because a lot of our people are very creative, they are very hardworking. They are not criminals by birth, they are circumstantial criminals, those ones that get into crime. So I want to pull them out of crime. I want to create jobs for them. I want to assure them of good life because they're entitled to it. So that is one area that I believe that I need to hit the ground running from day one to ensure that our people have things to do, live a good life, and
Mr. Otti, yeah. One thing that is paramount on your mind and your plan is to get those people who are behind the violence and the sort of the insecurity that we see in the state out of the street and get them gainfully, get them engaged gainfully. So how do you hope to do get these jobs? How long will it take you, for example, because you said you are going to hit the ground running. How long, for example, are you going to get this done when you should you be elected governor? And how much of these jobs can you get in the first place?
Thank you, Sean. I think the most important thing is to understand what you intend to do and understand how you want to do it. So we have a comprehensive plan that is put together. This plan understands that job creation is supposed to be supported by government, while the private sector, or through a partnership, the jobs are created by the private sector. So what we intend to do is to, first of all, massively rebuild and create infrastructure. So I had talked about our ease of doing business. That's one of the reasons why a lot of businesses have voted with their feet. Growing up, we had a Bata here in Aba, Factory Road. We had Bata, we had Lenners, we had Nigerian Breweries, Liver Brothers, BZ, International Equitable Association. All these were in Aba. But today, none of them exists. Abate was easily the largest employer of labor. So government has a responsibility to ensure that those industries come back, and actually a more improved version of those industries. And we'll do that. We'll use government resources to back that up.
How soon can you get that done? I mean, you're talking about industrializing Abia State, bringing back investment into Abia State, getting these companies back. How long can this take? And I asked earlier on, how many of these jobs can you get out?
We will have the first 4 years to do all this. And I'm sure by the time we begin to deliver results, people would beg us to do another 4 years, and probably another 4 years. So it is results that we are going to create. Now, in terms of numbers, hundreds of thousands of jobs will be created both directly and indirectly. And we'll flesh down to the specifics by the time we take over. Now, this government has started promoting civil servants just a few days before election. That is deceit. And we know that they're also owing them. Doctors today are on strike. They are being owed for 26 months. Civil servants are being owed. Abia State Polytechnic lost its accreditation last year for 30 months salary arrears that had not been paid to the workers. Abia State University Teaching Hospital has also lost its accreditation from the National Association of Resident Doctors. And the reason is that salaries are being paid. So it's just deceit and actually criminality for a government that will expire in less than 3 months to be promoting people when they haven't paid them their salaries. I think they just think that people are stupid. Our people are not stupid. And I also like to use this opportunity, Sean, to advise the government because the governor presides over meetings where threats are being issued. Oh, they are going to kill people. Everybody must vote for PDP. I'd like to assure them that I am actually in charge of the greater percentage of the people, and that we are not into violence doesn't mean that we cannot fight back. So election is coming up in less than a week. A lot of meetings are being held. People are being threatened. You must vote a particular party, otherwise you should move away. I would like to really, really let them know that, first of all, Abia people are not stupid. That they are tolerant doesn't mean they are stupid. And secondly, we're also not stupid. So we want an election that is credible, that is free and fair, and we would like to sound a note of warning that the government presided over by Governor Okezie should be held responsible if there's a breakdown of law and order. We are not going to tolerate it. We had already taken so much. Pensioners are being owed for about 56 months, and nobody has talked about it.
Mr. Otti, Mr. Otti, that may not be that may be unfair to him, since he's not here to be able to defend himself based on that.
You can bring him on.
Yeah, but
you can bring him on.
Let's close and let
we have credible intelligence.
Yeah.
We have credible intelligence. A government should not be involved in criminality and terrorism.
No, but those are strong words, Mr. Otti.
He has failed the election.
Yeah, those are strong words to use on him if he's not able to defend himself right now. But let me get your final thought. And just in about 30 seconds, if you may, I'd like to know, should he be elected governor of Abia State, what would you like Abia State to be noted for? And what perhaps would you want people of Abia State, if you're elected, to know you for? in terms of governance and delivery?
Well, the first thing is good governance. Like I said, we have had a situation where people who do not stand on their feet take over the leadership of this. For the first time, someone who is a technocrat, who understands how the economy works, who will create jobs, who will ensure that the economy becomes a 24-hour economy rather than the 12-hour economy that it is today. Anytime it's 6 p.m., everybody disappears from the streets. And I talked about velocity of money somewhere. And I said, when your money goes to sleep by 6 p.m., it's useless. And it's only by 6 a.m. when you wake up that the money becomes useful again. Anytime money is changing hands, somebody is making money. But the governments that we have had do not understand how the economy works. This is a government that understands how the economy works. The wartime president of the United States, Franklin Roosevelt, had a policy that he called the New Deal. And that New Deal simply was about job creation. Just get people to do something at the end of the day, give them money. And when you pay them, you stimulate the economy. So this is a government that is not going to be corrupt, a government that will work for them. And I would like to call all of us and everyone to come out without fear of intimidation.
All right.
I am in charge, and we are going to ensure that everybody's vote is protected. And by May 29, we are going to have a new Abia of our dream. Thank you.
Dr. Alex Otti, Labour Party governorship candidate in Abia, said thank you so much for your time, and I wish you the very best in the race. Thank you so much indeed.